Welcome back to Letting Love Win with J. Marie. Tonight we're going to continue our series about baggage. So, as children, our suitcase is usually very, very small. You see the little suitcases that may have cartoon characters on there, or Captain America, Superman, something like that on the little suitcase. And we like to carry this suitcase around. We usually are pulling it behind us as our parents drag us down the street. Mostly, there's nothing in the suitcase. For a little girl, there might be some barrettes, maybe a baby doll. For a boy, he may have a little race car or some action figure, right? And you hear it rattling around in the suitcase, right? Because what kind of baggage does a little kid really have? Not much, right? Not likely. So, excuse me. Children are watching. Children are watching your relationships, all of your relationships. Children are listening to the conversations that you're having in your car, in your house. When you think they are not listening, they are paying attention. And for those of you who think that at 3 or 4, even 2 years old, children are not comprehending and feeling what they're observing, sadly, you're not correct. The first relationship that a little girl has with the opposite sex is with her dad. If that relationship is not healthy, there's a problem. And there's going to be a problem that can carry that child throughout her life, through every relationship that that girl has. As a young girl, as a teenager, and as an adult woman, she is going to connect how she feels and her self-worth to the relationship that she has with her father. Now, men, some of you don't understand that until somebody hurts your little girl's feelings, until somebody breaks your little girl's heart, or uses your little girl, or tosses her to the side and leaves her to take care of the babies, is when you start to realize that at some point in your life, you may have done the same thing to somebody else's little girl. So I think that it's very, very important that we, when we are raising children, boys and girls, that we are very aware that what we do and what we say, how we act, and the decisions that we make are going to impact our children for lifelong. So I'm not saying that you stay in a relationship that you're unhappy in, or it's not a healthy relationship, or if it's a violent relationship. But I am saying that a conversation needs to happen. Maybe more than one conversation needs to happen. A check-in needs to happen. Because every time something happens in your life, your child is experiencing that. So they are now going from having a little Barbie doll or a Tonka truck in their suitcase to now having your emotions and your anger and your feelings coupled with their feelings and their confusion, coupled with the relationships and the friendships that they themselves are building in school and after school and extracurricular activities. These are all things that children experience because they are human beings. They're just little human beings. Their brain works, their thought process, their feelings, all of these things are the same. They are just mini human people. That's it. So sometimes in sessions, I talk to little children and the things that they share with me about their feelings and how they process things. Oh, I tell you, at 48, they have taught me some stuff, right? At 48, I can remember feeling and hurting when my first best friend moved to Florida with her mother. I think I was 2 or 3, and we used to have tea parties with water and granola bars. I remember the room we sat in. I remember the teacups. I remember the granola bars, which probably back then was great, but not so much now. But this is 46 years later. We were like 2, 3. So 45, 46 years later. I still remember that like it was yesterday. And at times, it still makes me a little sad that it was abruptly taken from me. Now, as an adult, I have developed coping skills to deal with that loss. But as a child, we don't have those coping skills. So as we're growing up and we continue to have other people put their baggage in our luggage, this is difficult for children to process. So, ladies, I employ you tonight with a homework assignment to think about your relationship that you had with your dad. And although relationships are not perfect, because people are not perfect, think about what baggage you started putting in your little suitcase as a young girl connected to your father, and how that relationship and that baggage has determined and contributed to the decisions that you have made and perhaps are still making in the relationships that you have today. Remember to stay on the truth, not my truth. Because my truth, it muddies the waters. It makes your journal writing all confused, right? You want to stick with the truth. At what point in your life are you going to be honest with yourself? Who cares about being honest with someone else? We should get to a place in our life where we say, like, our great grandparents say, hey, I'm old enough now that I can say what I want to say and I don't care if nobody likes it. That place right there. I want you to take yourself there and I want you to sit there. Just sit there. Maybe you're not ready to write. Maybe you just need to cry. Maybe it hurts. Maybe it doesn't. But you need to sit there and think about and be honest. What have you continued to carry around from that little suitcase as a little child that now has become gigantic? And you just refuse to unpack it because telling the truth is too hard, it's too embarrassing, it's too shameful. Meanwhile, you are melting away inside. These are why sometimes our relationships don't work. Sometimes they don't work because we make the wrong choice and we stay too long when we should have hightailed it out of there. But sometimes they don't work because it's too much stuff going on there. We can't see through what's in the suitcase. That's why we get to where we're going and we wind up with 10 of the same things. And you wonder why I have 40 pair of underwear, why I got 13 socks and I got flip-flops, or why I have a whole bunch of socks and I don't have no sneakers to put on after I put on these socks. Because it's just so cloudy and muddy. We got to unpack some stuff. Unpack some stuff. And if you have been blessed to have finally met someone in your life that allows you to start unpacking that suitcase, well, praise God. Sometimes it takes a long time. But I have learned that when I started to unpack that suitcase, I made room for God's blessing to enter into my life. It's never too late. Never too late to learn. Never too late to change. Never too late to say, I'm sorry. Never too late to accept an apology. Never too late. So please think about what you are willing to unpack. Take it out. At least one thing. Take it out. Make room. Because life is worth living. And right now, this should be the time that we all realize just how quickly life can be taken away. It is time to unpack that little luggage that you had as a child. So thanks for coming over tonight. Don't forget to share, Don't forget to subscribe. And tomorrow I will see you back here for episode number 5. Toodles.